Move in silence. Everyone doesn't deserve access to your inner world. Your secrets are basically currency, and when you spend them in the wrong place, the universe will tax you for it. Today, I'm going to share with you the cost of sharing your secrets to the wrong person based on my own personal experience. By the end of this video, you will understand the power of silence, how keeping things sacred protects your momentum, your identity, and your sanity. If this all resonates in the end, remember to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. So let's tune in.
Warning! You are now taking a trip onto the Julio Frequency.
Welcome to the Julio Frequency podcast. I'm Julio, and this isn't just a podcast. It's a signal, a spiral of thoughts, the frequency of curiosity. If you're here, then you're already tuned in to something bigger than yourself. You want to sit back, relax, and not do jack? Well, you came to the right place. This is where that all goes down. On today's episode of the Julio Frequency, I'm going to share with you exactly how I shared my journey of becoming a content creator on YouTube with the wrong person. Now, I'm not talking about this channel. This channel is fairly new. This is an all new project, so to speak. I have other projects. I have other passions, things that I've worked on, and things that I've put a lot of time into. There's another YouTube channel that I worked so hard on, and I shared this journey of working on this channel with someone else, someone who I met through my daytime job. During the day, like anyone else, I have a regular job. I work in the service field. I fix air conditioners. I'm a service tech. I do maintenance. I do repairs. I do pretty much whatever I can do at the moment with what I have. And you know what that means if you're in the service. But I do my job and I get it done. No excuses. Sometimes someone new comes along that you must train and share with them the ins and outs of your everyday work routine, especially if you're supposed to have, quote unquote, a partner that's supposed to work with you, which in this case, that's what this was. I received a new partner for where I work. Now, mind you, when this person started, I welcomed this person with open arms, made sure they understood the process and everything that was required to complete the tasks. This person was more certified than me, a journeyman HVAC individual, which is of a higher pedigree. So for the most part, I didn't have to show this person how to repair or diagnose an air conditioner. I just had to show this person the process on how, the job specifically where I work was, where everything was. There's one thing there's one thing as far as knowing how to, do a job as opposed to knowing the process behind it for the employer, so to speak. There's always a process, paperwork, an interface, a program you have to use to input information on client invoices and so forth. Long story short, my last YouTube channel is a channel still to this day where I talk about everyday carry items such as pocket knives, flashlights, things that you carry every day. And a lot of times you see a pocket knife and you think weapon. Well, a lot of the videos and content that I produced, I did before clocking into work. I would show up literally 2 hours early to work. And where I worked, there was this warehouse, which, in my opinion, was abandoned. No one has cleaned this place. I had access to this place due to there being computer access for a system that regulates the entire HVAC system for, where I worked. It was basically control command for me the way I was, trained. Even though we received laptops after the fact, which would give us access to those controls. However, sometimes those laptops would crash, which would require us to in turn return to that room, the what I call engineering room. Okay. The engineering room, I made my personal haven. I would show up 2 hours early and sit in there and start my day with a meditation. Literally, the very first thing I would do is meditate for about half an hour. And then I would create content for my YouTube channel. And sure enough, I was basically dropping content, still am to this day, on a regular basis. And it started there. The energy started there due to the need for it, where I felt like I had to put in time. I had to create something. I wanted to become a content creator. I had a passion for everyday carry items, and I didn't have a space to create. So I figured, well, this engineering room is abandoned. Literally there's garbage. I'm surrounded by garbage in this room. That's the funny thing. And when I say garbage, I mean empty boxes. There's clothing that was left behind by individuals. There's many blueprints. All around. As I stated, it is an engineering room, which is the room where the engineer of where I work had the blueprints. Now, no blame on the engineer, but there was never any regulation on cleaning this place. It was an absolute degenerate layer, which is what I consider it. Long story short, when this new individual was hired, I shared with him my channel. I had no choice but to show him the room. At first, I didn't tell him I'm doing videos and creating content in this room. However, eventually he caught wind that I had a channel. He was into everyday carry items just like me. Matter of fact, he actually even gifted me a knife, a pocket knife, which I also in turn made a review. And till this day, this knife that this individual gave me is one of my top 3 pocket knives to purchase if you're new to knives and looking to purchase one, which is a whole other topic, but just giving you context on what happened here, which, as you can see, I worked on a YouTube channel 2 hours before work in a location that didn't belong to me, in a location that was my employer's location. However, no one ever went in this room. It was a separate building, abandoned, so to speak. However, there were blueprints in this building. Every so often, the engineer would go in there and would access for blueprints. Aside from that, I'm not sure what else this person needed, but the entire room, in my opinion, to just put it in perspective, was a pigsty. No one cleaned it. There was never anyone that sent cleaners, where every other facility that I worked, which was under this organization, had that done. Every other facility had trash, sweep and mop the floors, all the offices cleaned, and so forth. You know what I mean? So for some reason, this space was, in my opinion, neglected. However, I found it as an opportunity to sit, hold space, meditate, and then create. And that's what I did. I made over 200 videos in this space, 200 videos of me sharing everyday carry items such as flashlights, pocket knives, multi tools, everyday carry slim wallets, you name it. I've done it on this, in this location. Now, here's the problem with that. Some of the items that I was showcasing were pocket knives, and there was this narrative as if I'm carrying weapons now and I'm bringing weapons. And there was a specific video where I tested the power of a specific knife, which was more than the pocket knife. It was a weapon designed for combat. However, I specified that and made it clear that, the items that I share are specifically for utility use only. I've never, endorsed violence with pocket knives. However, long story short, videos were made where tests were being done with these pocket knives to show their strength. And I was using items that were found in the room, old phone books that were outdated and absolute trash, a broomstick, which was also never used and absolute trash, just to be clear. This individual that I trained, that I showed how to do our process on where we work, this individual started to follow my channel. He started to like and support the channel, sending me messages, loving my content. As time went on, it was just the channel grew. His likeness towards my channel grew, and it became, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. He basically knew every single time I dropped a video or a short because he was now a subscriber. And if there was any footage on there which showed places where I work, which was mostly inside this engineer room, then you'd know that, I'm in there, doing these videos before and after hours for the record. Well, after so much time and after doing so many videos, this person ended up becoming the manager of where I worked. And even afterwards, it's like, okay, now this guy's the manager. So, obviously he knows already about my channel and he's still supporting it. I asked for a raise, as a matter of fact, and explained the whole basis of part of the reason why the channel was created was to try to create something new for myself to also help generate more income. It was a move to where I felt, well, if I can create a brand of my own, it gives me some type of motivation that there will be some stability for myself in the future, as opposed to where I was working currently with an individual who now became my boss. I felt like I was being underpaid. And I shared that with him when he became the manager. I genuinely shared that with him. And there was no attention towards that, so to speak. However, I was motivated to keep hustling and do more videos, verbatim, word for word from this person. Just keep hustling, do more videos. I can't get you any more money. I was basically out of his hands. So keep working on your videos, basically. So after some time, this person quit. And went and found another job, left the company, left what he had with us and started a whole new endeavor somewhere else. I gave him my blessings. Basically, everyone that worked under him gave him their blessing. And that's when things started to change, because when he left, there was no one else to take over on his job duties. Therefore, those duties, the major ones, were being thrown on to me. It was a task that I did not want, a manager of a facilities position, so to speak. I pretty much was put to deal with all the issues that this person was dealing with, and I was handling them. I saw what it took to pretty much do these tasks. It wasn't like I wanted to do it, but I'm a team player. We were short staffed. So I went for it and totally grabbed it by the horns. And eventually, I asked the big boss and said, hey, would you like me to then now take this position? How do you feel about that? See, that's the funny thing here. I made sure to ask first, since that same big boss, referred to him as the big boss, was already giving me tasks to complete, since there was no one else around to do those tasks. Well, long story short, I was doing the task. I applied for the position as requested by him, applied for the position. That way you can now get it, and it could be a title and, more money and so forth. So I did. I applied for that position. And guess what? The last guy that quit, the guy that started to follow my channel, the guy that became my friend, decided that he wanted to come back. He wanted to come back. Things didn't work out in the job that he had gotten and that he had left this job for. And then he decided that he wanted to come back. Now, I knew this by him telling me directly. However, when I was told about the position and to apply for my position, I was then also told that this person is now calling back, trying to get his position back. And then I was also told that he wasn't qualified of the way he left. I had no debate on what would happen. I just asked the question, am I still up for the position or not? That's all I asked. And I was told yes. 2 weeks go by, and I find out that the last guy that quit, the same guy that we're talking about here, is now coming back and has been reinstated as the manager. I wasn't told anything. It just happened. And then I was advised when we all had a meeting about it, but there was never a conversation prior to it. The way I would think it probably should have gone down, especially if I was already doing those tasks. I was asked to apply for the position, and I was also told that I would get that position. But that's not the basis of this story. Things happen in companies, and hey, you can't control the decisions made. You just can only roll with the punches. You can speak your mind, and if things don't pan, or if you don't feel justified in what's going on, you can always go somewhere else. There's jobs everywhere else. It does not mean that you're stuck to one place. So this individual comes back. He is now my manager again, and he knows that I was the one that was going to take his position. The friendship has ended. He no longer, is being that same friend, still following the channel, still liking some content, but they, if anything, it was animosity there from when he got back. I spoke to him and told him, like, yeah, I applied for the position. I didn't tell you because I was told not to say anything, but I told him directly. I'm like, look, I applied for the position, and they just let you come back, and they didn't tell me anything about it, which is, again, beyond my control. But I made it known. That way he knew. And from there, the relationship got different. From there, he just started acting different towards me. It was a matter of, there was no more, when you have a manager and you're supposed to feel comfortable reaching out to that person for things. It didn't feel that way at all. I have so many instances where I've shared information about the things that I'm supposed to share on my daily work activities. There was always a good morning, hello, even though I knew that the friendship was over. But in turn, the animosity showed. And instead, it was more about, you should be doing this instead of this and so forth. That's how I was being spoken to as a manager, you know, from to their employee, so to speak. Me being the employee, him being the manager. Never once did I challenge anything he said. Never once. But he knew about my channel. He knew that I was doing videos in the engineering room. He knew that I was coming to work 2 hours early every single day. He knew that I felt like I was underpaid. And he knew that videos were dropping on a daily. Videos, shorts, you name it, were dropping on a daily. And then one day, my car was broken into in front of where I work, coming to work early as usual, around 6 a.m. Vandals smashed my rear window, took all my tools, took a lot of my personal items, took a lot of my content creating items, such as cameras, flashlights. They took my on-cloud sneakers. They took my entire gym bag, gym wardrobe, work clothes, ID badge type stuff. You name it. They took a lot of things. And I didn't get an instant report. There was no remorse on my employer's end on that, even though it happened on their grounds. I filed a police report, and that was it. I never heard. There was no conversation from my employer. There was no incident report, no anything. So and coincidentally, I was going through a pain, and I had to go and get surgery for a hernia. So that's the funny thing. My window got smashed in. And the same day, I went and got diagnosed for having that need to, get a hernia repair. So I was out of work. I didn't go back to work from when my window was smashed. 2 months passed. I received the surgery, went on FMLA leave, so to speak, was out for a month after surgery. And the first day I return from surgery is when I find out that my YouTube channel has got me fired. I received a letter of termination because of me doing YouTube videos in this same very room with weapons. How I was destroying company property, how I was bringing weapons on to the work onto where I work, basically. The same engineering, disgusting, degenerate layer that I used to do videos in. And I have proof of the degeneracy in every video and how disgusting those rooms were. Hence, the degeneracy. And I received a letter of termination based on my YouTube channel. My immediate response was, matter of fact, I can tell you my response is verbatim, actually. Now, I'm going to read to you my written response to human resources and why they terminated me. Please listen closely, because this is all real. This is all mine. This is all for you. And this is just the genuine truth of what happened here, which I am sharing with the world. I just feel you should know. My written response to these allegations, which were the allegations of me being terminated from my YouTube channel for using weapons and doing videos of quote unquote weapons and destroying items. The items I destroyed were a phone book, a broomstick, boxes of garbage, boxes of trash filters type of thing, things that were going in the trash. Whatever I destroyed was basically going in the trash. So here we go. Dear senders of termination letter, just to be frank, message received, thumbs up. My current supervisor, which I won't name, no need to, no need for name calling. The truth speaks for itself. My current supervisor was fully aware of the videos I was doing, and he knew very well that I was coming in early every single morning to try to make more money for work. Not only did he fully know about my channel since day one, he was also a subscriber to my channel. I considered him a huge supporter. When I asked for a raise and didn't get it, he specifically told me, just have to hustle more with your videos. I have text messages with him praising my channel and how much he loves it, as well as inspire him. I've asked him on text for advice on which comparisons I should do with Leatherman multi-tools. Matter of fact, he liked my video in regarding the broken broomstick, which they made a huge deal about. Which, by the way, that room has not been looked at nor cleaned in over 3 years. I was specifically told that everything in that engineering room was garbage. All materials destroyed for any videos was property of the garbage. All recordings after hours or before. If you're considering the dirty, filthy tower that has never been cleaned as a facility that I was, then so be it. Again, the supervisor knew and supported what I was doing. He agreed I wasn't getting paid fairly. It's interesting how all of a sudden the channel comes to light as if no one knew about it. Right after I have an issue with my car being broken into, vandalized, and all my things were stolen. Off arguably the negligence of where I work and their non-existent safety department. You've done me a huge favor. And, I go on to say, for the record, these things were stolen, which, belong to them and so forth. So they responded immediately and they asked, do I have proof of any of this? And I said, absolutely. I sent them everything. I have the text messages. I have notifications. Now, mind you, this person unsubscribed, unfollowed, reversed. It's easy to reverse what you do on YouTube, but it doesn't remove the notifications that come through on the other person's end. Therefore, I had those notifications on things that he liked, videos that he liked, and I showed it. I sent them everything. Text messages, the notification snapshots of his channel, basically everything. And sure enough, come to find out, he's no longer with the company either. So you see how that works. Now, fortunately, I was able to move on. I found employment somewhere else. I kept moving forward. However, I learned a valuable lesson to move in silence. Move without showing your move. Do not let people into your world, especially if you're struggling, especially if you're going through it, especially if you're seeking some type of spiritual salvation within yourself. If you're going through that ritual, mind you, I shared my entire life with this person. This room that I sat in, it wasn't just some engineering room. I made this my personal space, just like how anyone else would make their personal space wherever they work. I made that my personal space, and there was no violation, in my opinion, on my end. Meditating in the morning and creating a ritual and getting ready before work, I think that should be applauded, not frowned upon. However, it was maliciously re-narrated as if it was a terrible thing, like I was a terrible thing to society, when in fact, the truth is, being a friend and acting as if you support someone and genuinely showing support to that friend, and then exposing that friend's journey to where he works in a malicious way to get him fired. I don't know of anything lower than that right there. I seen it with my own eyes, and it happened. Why? Because I didn't move in silence, because I shared my secrets. I only blamed myself. Take that for a lesson. Take what happens to me for your own advice. If any of this resonates, if any of this hits you in that sweet spot, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please like. Please show that support. I challenge each and every single one of you to really move in silence for the next 6 months. Don't tell anyone what you're doing. If it's feasible, I know there are certain aspects of things where you have to be truthful if you have a partner or spouse. But when you're working on yourself, when you're working on your spiritual journey, so to speak, that one is personal. And if there are things that are involved with that you feel align and you have to do in your own time, keep it to yourself. Don't share that with anyone. Keep your secrets to yourself. Move in silence and then see how that works out for you. I guarantee that you will level up like you've never leveled up before. Move in silence, and I guarantee you won't regret it. Thanks for tuning in to the Julio Frequency podcast. Stay cosmic, stay curious, and keep spiraling forward. Next week, I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about because I haven't thought of it yet. Until then, keep listening to your own frequency.